help you well. Who wants to live long and happy life? Well, here is a discipline for you to follow. Hara Hachi Bun Me. In English, this phrase translates to belly 80% full, meaning eat only until you get 80% full, not 100, then you won't need a doctor. I started saying this Japanese phrase quoted in English publications the last couple of years. This is a common phrase to be heard everywhere in Japan. Sometimes it's used as an excuse when food isn't enough at a dinner party, or even as a consolation when we get a very small portion at a restaurant. But more recently, this phrase is often linked to the southern island of Okinawa, where the lifestyle is quite traditional and the phrase is still very much valued. The region has the world's highest proportion of centenarians, so Hara Hachi Bun Me actually makes you live longer. I personally follow this discipline because full is uncomfortable. When I overeat, I can't even freely move about. So just being kind to my own tummy, I sort of stop eating before getting too full. And I can say I'm pretty healthy. But the obesity is the huge national problem in the UK, and I can see why belly 80% full is getting popular in this country. Although this phrase originates from a Confucian teaching, it's also backed up by several scientific researchers. In 1930s, studies on mice show that reducing their normal food intake by about 40% increased their maximum lifespan by 30 to 40%. Calorie restriction reduces certain biomarkers associated with longevity, such as body temperature and insulin levels. Certain types of DNA, which are responsible to slow down aging, can also be activated with reduced food intake. Generally speaking, the recommended daily calorie intake is 2,000 calories a day for women and 2,500 for men. But average British people are taking over 3,000 a day. It's time to remind you of our phrase. Hara Hachi Bun Me. If you take only 80% of what you're taking now, it will get closer to the recommended number. As a reference, people in Okinawa only takes around 1,800 a day, while Americans take nearly 4,000 a day. I also came across the criticism against the Eat Well guide promoted by Public Health England. GPs and health experts are complaining that people are still getting fatter even following this guide, which is supposed to make people healthier. They think the problem is that third of the meal based on this guide is carbohydrate. However, in Okinawa, people still eat a bowl of rice or noodles at almost every meal. Rice binds many different dishes together in a typical Japanese meal and plays an essential role. Of course, if you're just eating rice or bread, it's not good for you because you're not getting enough nutrition. But carbs are necessary to give us energy, especially to our brain. In my opinion, the problem is rather excess. If you eat too little, you will fall into lack of nutrition, but if you eat too much, you will get sick and obese. Confucianism, which is the origin of the phrase, values moderation. It's also a philosophy to constrain our fundamental greed. We shouldn't take more than we need. We should share it with others when we can. It's not only about food. We could apply it to many other things as well. Think what you are taking excessively. I'm sure you have something in mind. But how could we achieve 80% full when we aren't equipped with a stomach meter? There are a few ideas. use a smaller plate. We Japanese love miniature and it's useful to avoid excess. If you fancy a burger, you don't need to give it up. You could have a smaller one. I don't think this miniature McDonald's does too much harm to you. I like this approach because it's not too aesthetic and kind to both body and mind. Another idea is to use chopsticks. If you're right-handed, try and use them in your left hand. It will slow down your eating speed, although it's difficult. It takes about 20 minutes for us to feel full, so the key is not to stuff ourselves too much before our brain registers the food. Chewing more also gives you the similar effect. The idea of 80% full gives us quite an interesting insight about life. We are living in the era of excess. We can eat, drink, buy and throw away so many things. Glass half full could still be seen as glass half empty. But if the glass is 80% full, we would all see it as full. What we need is the ability to look at things as full at 80%. I don't have absolutely everything I've ever dreamed of right now, but I have most of things, enough to be able to say that I am happy. Why don't we stop excess and choose moderation, like the people in Okinawa? And probably we can live longer and happier life.